All right, family. All right, all right, all right. A good morning to you. March the 10th, 2025. How we doing out there today, right? Good old Monday morning. We hope that y'all and pray that y'all are having a powerful and impactful start to your work week. The beginning of this week is we just went through the farce that is, I got to say it that way boldly, that is daylight savings time. Y'all already know your boy on this podcast I got no remorse in saying it that way. That there's no need for speeding up that which is already sped up naturally. Again, for us who are Christian, for those who believe in spiritual things, right? And that's not just Christian, that'd be Jewish, that'd be Islamic, that would be Druid, that would be Wiccan, right? We're talking about everybody in the family of humanity. This idea where Christians start to be very, and we in Lent season, by the way, for our Catholic brothers and sisters out there, right? Liturgical brothers and sisters out there, right? Those who celebrate Lent season, right? Time of sacrifice. Before we get started here, welcome in us who are the 1,100 plus strong, right? Ever rising, who believe in, who love after, who think on, who hunger and thirst, who seek for that which is a different view. Family, welcome in. We're going to get into this word here. Just a stop right there for a second on sacrifice. The word sacrifice, again, we have to lay a lot of this here over the last couple of years has been laying the groundwork as we continue to go on forward. Shout out to you family members who have caught on here the podcast in its later stages. Again, just as a little not misnomer. What am I saying? As a little disclaimer. Right? Or as a little notice, all these silly words we use, right? We're on Spotify, right? Shout out to Spotify for creators, used to be called Spotify for podcasters, for putting on a platform, right? You got to give out. We give credit to where credit is due here. We don't pick and choose because that's silly. Shout out to Spotify for create, and all that leads to is more death and destruction, by the way. Shout out to Spotify for podcasters, for putting on a platform and allowing a platform where your boy can speak and let people know what's going on in this life, right? So that we all can see a different view. Thank you very much. Not only are we on Spotify, we're also on YouTube, right? You can look us up at A Different View, literally the @ symbol. A Different View 80, right? Your boy was born 1980. We just talked about my birthday. 45 is interesting, family, right? The middle 40s. Shout out to us 40-year-olds on the podcast, right? We got a good portion of the family on here that are in our 40s that listen to this podcast, man, right? Us 80s babies, us 80s, 90-ish babies, right? What's going on out there, family? Man, some of us 40-year-olds that we look at, man, there's a quizzical look on the face, right? We're talking the new generation as those who are, and this ain't no diss to the 60, the 50, the 60, 70-year-olds and stuff like that. Maybe not the 50, but more the 60, 70, 80, and of course, 90-year-olds, right? But we're talking about the progress of life. Batons pass on, right? Whether you wanted to or not, batons pass on, right? We got to get over a lot of this partial prejudicial mess we do. Because we hurt ourselves as a result of not seeing each other's gifts properly. Again, as we've said on this podcast, the old learn from the young and the young learn from the old. That's a real thing. You've been taught differently. And we know from where, right? We say on this podcast, we know from where, right, family? Especially in modern times. And when we say modern times, we're talking like, 1800s, maybe 1600s up till today. You learned it from Massa, right? You learn how to do this stuff from massa, not the master. Okay. They got you so that you can be good slaves on the plantation. Again, repetition's necessary for learning, y'all. See, we know what we know because someone repeated it to us over and over and over and over and over, whether from a math book, a science book, a history book. Normally their information, because you discredit witch doctors and stuff like that, you know. They're just pulling from this good earth that we're told to dress and keep, and operating in the energies that are there, put there by the maker. I know we like doing the little dance around when we start talking about like the devil inspired stuff and all that kind of thing. I know that all of it is not like that, but we villainize them. We villainize them unfairly. Today, when we take vitamins and we do certain things, and which horrible experiments were done on our native brothers and sisters to figure out which we already talked about the First Nations experiments in Canada, right? Something you can find right online. Sick mess that was done to our native brothers and sisters. We can't get away from the things of people, y'all. And we can't sit there and start using these words. And we can, don't get me wrong, because again, you have choice. For those out there who don't believe you have choice, you are looking at what us choosing looks like. This is what choosing looks like. All of the arguments you've been seeing lately, all this kind of stuff, this is what happens when humans choose. Wrongly, by the way. Still a choice. We're down here to dress and keep the planet, family. This is what we talked about, right? Dress, like putting on a dress, right? Dress it up. So when you take care of the earth, when you mow your grass, we've been seeing some stuff on Snapchat and got to shout out SB Mowing, right? It's a little thing that's on Snapchat here where dude is going around taking care of zombie houses. Did you know them different zombie houses that you have in your neighborhood's family bring down your own property value? And I know we like to do the good happy dance as far as, see, again, you got to deal with certain things inside the economy, how we trade and how we buy, family, right? But when you got a system set up for massa, that thing going to look off. It's going to look confused. And we've been operating in an economic system that's been made by massa. Some of it, what you saw in the South, that they had a civil war over, which was nothing civil about that. War, by definition, family, is confusion. Why? Because we are supposed to, why is the base definition of war confusion? Because we are to dress and keep the planet. Whenever you go away from that directive, we're confused, y'all. Somebody also put certain directives on here as to how we are to dress and keep the planet. The truth is, at the end of it all, whichever way you do it, at the end of it should be dressing or keeping. That deals with preserving the planet, y'all. And in order to do that, you must dress. Man, I don't know, and it's for me too. I'm not talking down, but we got to talk about it, right? We got to dress and keep ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually. Sacrifice to make set apart, right? Or holy. That word holy just comes back to set apart. Paying homage to. This is in the late 13th century. So as time has been divided, what do we talk about here on this podcast, y'all? How have humans put time as far as centuries, right? Old school stuff, but this is necessary, right? Because you got to learn how the man is doing this thing. Okay? We're going to get into the literacy rate in a minute. Literacy is real low, family. You know, especially when you look at the different cultures, man, that thing is not everybody is on an 8th to 12th grade level. Some folks are around 5th to 6th grade. Small percentages. You can look it up. We'll just hop into the topic right now. The ability to comprehend and understand a thing, not only from just your own physical inability to. We're talking about being taught to. See, again, going back to teaching, people don't want to teach nothing. You teach to make sure you got good workers. Same thing why Sunday school was made. It was hard for me to find that out, but it was necessary. To teach people how to be good workers? Unto who? You in Sunday school. Never mind. We can keep doing the happy dance, family, and at the end of the day, we pay a price because we're not dressing to keeping the planet. We try and dress and keep massa. There's a difference there, right? The late 13th century deals with 1201 to 1300, correct? Let's just look it up real quick. You just, again, renewing the mind means you have to refresh as well. So you just type in your phone, what is the 13th century? (1201 to 1300). Right? That's how they do it. They put the 01 on the group, the 1000 group number beforehand. This is Julian calendar stuff, right? Again, same thing as giving you a calendar. There's a certain thought out there, family, that now is the beginning of the new year. It's not January. Which, when you look around, and of course they attribute this to a cult, right? Of course they got to attribute anything that deals with something with life. When you really look down at the bare bones and you start studying it, family, this is the same thing with people who act like with socialism and Marxism, communism, all that kind of mess, as opposed to capitalism. Like it's in opposition, just different forms of how you can make money and live down here, right? Like we have said on this podcast at its outset, there's nothing wrong with either one of these economic thought processes. Do you know what is wrong? The people. Which is why you have a problem. We're talking base definition. I'm not talking about all this other stuff everyone is saying. Get down to the base tactics, the brass tactics, as they say. Capitalism is where a boss earns, right? A boss earns. How do you become a boss? You own the thing. So the owner earns off of what they get, right? Okay. What happens now when you introduce workers into that? We can keep doing the holy hopscotch all we want to. And Christians play the biggest caper for massa. I don't know a group bigger. I really don't. Islamic brothers and sisters don't do it. Jewish brothers and sisters don't do it. They're in code and agreement with you so they can keep making money. And when I say you, I'm talking about massa. The governments. The governments of the world, specifically the United States. They make sure that they toe the line so they can keep making money. You transpose something where it should not have been. And that's what led to the desolation in Israel, in Jerusalem. And it's what's leading to the problems that you see in the church. That's why folks don't go. There is no relationship anymore. You preaching out that Bible now to make sure you keep that 501c3. That's what it is. And somebody's got to be bold enough to say it that way. Instead, what you do is browbeat the people. That is not what God did. That's not what Jesus did. Nowhere do you see that. Holding people accountable and responsible for the abilities they've been given. Just as the word response is, right? Responsibility, the response to your abilities that you have been given. Because we talk about which ways we can use that thing, does not mean we take occasion to go browbeating people. That's two totally different things. Unpopular message, and I'm not here to be popular, right? We're here to be effective to folks. And just in case I forgot, which I probably do, my apologies, family. We'll put the sound off there, right? We got to understand how important all this is. Because again, now we're going out living life out of a base of information that is highly tainted. This is why I don't get on the elders and the ancestors per se. But man, if something is off, man, you got to talk about that thing, right? Can we talk anymore? We got the ability to dress and keep the planet. Part of it is through communication. Can we do it anymore, though? You're talking on both sides now. Again, God levels the playing field. Christ levels the playing field. So if I'm a Christian, we level the playing field. That's how it works. Shout out to International Women's Day a couple days ago. I didn't have a chance to do a podcast on that day. My apologies, ladies. But we talking the contribution of the ladies on this planet. Okay? In Australia, in Asia, in India, in China, in Japan, right? Asia, Taiwan, Vietnamese, Thailand, Cambodia. It don't matter where, y'all. Africa. Our sisters on the planet, y'all. That includes Europe. All over this planet. Our native sisters. Mexican sisters. God. Yo, you can so clearly see the division. It is wild, y'all. Let's. So again, sacrifice by its definition is dealing with separating and making something mean something. Forcefully. Do we even know anything like that anymore, y'all? To forcefully, this is what charity deals with. This voluntary helping people. Where the Bible switches out the word, the wording used from the King James anyway. Again, we like going back to the scene of the crime. The King James using love and charity interchangeably in many different verses. Because that is love, y'all. Voluntarily helping people. Or maybe we should do like what happens. Let's go to it for a second. We just talking today, family. We just talking about the heart of the thing. Since we're in Lent season, right? This is yo, man. Again, like we say, right, and just studying humanity. And understanding what's going on in life, we're just trying to figure it out. You know, we're just trying to learn. Now, it's funny in Luke 10. This is where we'll be reading from today. Oh man, Lord help me talk today, man. After these things, the Lord appointed also the 70. So this is for apostolic succession folks out there. These are terms you can look up, apostolic succession, right? These are for these folks who buy in just a bit too much. We're not saying that there isn't some level of truth there, okay? We are saying where you go too hard with it and where we start putting people above the maker. That's the problem because there's certain underlying thoughts there, okay? So verse 1 here in Luke chapter 10 in the King James Version. This is where I'm reading from. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also. Sent them 2 by 2 before his face into every city and every place. You can combine this thought with the Great Commission, right? Go out into all the world, preach the gospel, baptizing folks in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, right? We've read this before. We've heard this before, right, family? Whither he himself would come or wherever they would go. He said unto them, the harvest truly is great, or is truly great. The laborers are few. That is very true. There's a lot to work. There's a lot of work to do out here. Okay. There's a lot to work to do out here. You don't say nothing about working hard. This is for your folks out here who like to talk about, you got to work hard. You got to work hard. You are just repeating something Massa put in your brain and geared it in your brain so that you keep making money for them. There is a difference between working hard for somebody else and working hard for just yourself or working hard for both. See, and we're missing it, but I digress. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest that he'd send forth laborers into his harvest. Okay. Go your ways. Behold, I send you forth as lamb among wolves. So you got to combine a lot of things here. So when Christ is asking you to pray for your enemies, this is for the folks out here. You just got to pray for them. But listen, you're talking about the wolves. You got to be careful. Why would that be said like that? Wolves eat lambs, y'all. Never mind. There is something here in we're going to split off here. I'm going to come back to Luke 10, right? In Genesis, we go back to the beginning, the scene of the crime, right? This is how we've said it on this podcast a multitude of times. Once you get past all of the stuff that is made, I want y'all to look at something very interesting, okay? Now just walk with me for a minute. This is just a thought. I know people will kind of lose it a bit, and that's all right. But again, when the Jews speak, right, our Jewish brothers and sisters, shout out one time, when they speak in allegory, right? They speak in well, of course, you see Proverbs, right? There's Proverbs all over the planet, right? Another one of them, African Proverbs, right? Shout out to our African brothers and sisters one time, okay? When you see, I'm telling you, family, a lot of these things coincide. So we all can believe what we believe, but just not paying attention to certain things is actually damaging, right? Okay? They speak in allegory when they talk. So when you get to this whole idea, let's just keep going down, right? God put man, right? Again, second chapter, doesn't take long. Second chapter, 15th verse in Genesis. God put the man, took the man, made the man, right? Took him, breathed his essence into him, became a living soul, put him in the Garden of Eden to do what? Here's your job right here. To dress and keep it. So now in Luke, we're talking about where you got work to do, right? In the harvest. Part of that harvest is dressing and keeping this planet. We're going to leave it alone. I know people like the turtle shell just to, no, it's about souls. Yeah. In order to dress and keep the planet, you got to dress and keep the people. So when you care about a person's soul, and this is where the most hypocrisy is shown in the church. Where are you taking care of the fatherless and the widow? Where's that at? We're not talking about no little government programs that you're caught up with and all that kind of thing because you're in bed with the government. We're talking about where's that Acts church at? Those are the ones they put to death, by the way, because those are the ones that talk out against this government. Not only the one in the United States, the one in Asia, the one in Africa, the one in Australia, the one in, it don't matter where. The one in South America. Shout out to our South American brothers and sisters one time. Right? We play a game too much, y'all, where we are very just these coasts. That's it. This world is huge. Dress and keep it. Couple verses down, and you could eat of a whole lot of trees. Every tree of the garden. See, we're only talking to one. There's a lot of trees in this garden that they could freely eat from. But nobody talks about those. You just stay stuck on the one. I wonder why. It's not good that man should be alone. So, fellas, you're going to have to square away with that. But just because that woman's in your life, this is Women's Month, y'all, by the way. Shout out to the ladies on this podcast one time. Thank y'all for listening, right? Thank y'all for tuning in. Not only are we on Spotify for Creators, or Spotify, I should say, you could also listen through Spotify for Creators. We're also on YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts, by the way. Right? Shout out to y'all, family, man. Shout out for your support. Thank you. Right? These podcasts, all these podcasts across the world do not work without the listener support. Massa got folks thinking real clear that this thing is like them, and without them, you ain't got nothing. And you know, talking about 40-year-olds, you got a 40-year-old in the White House right now asking other white folks asking other so-called white folks, I deserve a thank you. If that don't sound like some massive mess, I don't know, man. See, again, do you know what group is in that slave class? Poor white folks. Hey, to our black brothers and sisters, I know, right? They all wrong. That's the way we think, right? Hey, it was hard for me to come to that conclusion a while ago. See, again, we're talking about people who really love the black man and woman. You show that love, man, right? You getting around them, and you want, Lord help me to say it. You want the good black pole, right? Or you want to swim in that good black ocean? We're talking white men and women, right? So-called white women and men. So at some point, when do we stand arm in arm with their pain? You love us, right? This is what we're going through. That don't go away after you say I do or after you move in with them. We're not going to sit here and talk down to folks who cohabitate. I'm not doing that. I'm done on that. Common law was a thing. People just, you pick a person, you stay with that person. That's all we're talking about, right? Again, people have choice, right or wrong. You have a choice to choose what you do in this life, given to you by the Maker, because God would be wrong to make you robotic. This ain't about doing things just because it's put down here. You got to choose to do it. Matter of fact, it don't mean nothing to the Maker until you choose to do it. But we'll leave it alone because the heart of the thing is missing. Right? In the day you'll eat of it, you'll surely die. Okay? Go a little bit further down. Now the whole thing has been said. We go on, we continue on, finish off with the making of things. Again, now the woman comes into play, again, from Adam's rib, aka the man's rib. It's repeated multiple times in the verses between 20 to 22. Just to let you know, woman came from man's rib. That's why we look similar, y'all. The Amerifro, whoever has now, again, Afro back in the day used to be called an Amerifro. That fro, when you look at those images online, man, look at the hair. Look how it looks. Look at how it, there's different types. Look at how they look. See, nobody teaches you in biology. They didn't teach you this part. They just taught you about the penis, the vagina, where the clitoris is, the vas deferens, right, on men and all that kind of thing, where sperm and semen comes from, right? This all the stuff they didn't. It was superficial, okay? Because again, the thing is just to procreate so that you can. Never mind. We're gonna leave it alone, right? People gonna catch on eventually, man. So. Deep sleep because you got to get out of the way. Adam is made. Not Adam is made. Woman is made. Okay. Adam has a response to this awesome thing after God brings the woman to the man, which means that woman is a separate person of her own. I know we've been taught by a whole lot of misinformation, like that woman is supposed to be the birth mule. You got a problem with the hoe in the street, but once she becomes your girlfriend and all this other kind of stuff, she owes you sex. This is improper masculinism at its highest. And then cleave unto, and they shall be one flesh. We're leaving that alone. I'm not even going to that part of it, right? So they've been given their design. Dress and keep the planet, dress and keep yourselves. Okay, that's chapter 3, right? Now the serpent. How do they talk about a person who acts like a fool in your life, y'all? Were they real deceptive? What do they call them? Snake, right? Serpent. Snake in the grass. People are living, doing their thing. The family is doing their thing. The woman has their role. The man has their role. The garden and the planet is spinning. We've been told to keep it and dress it. And then again, by doing so, we must dress and keep ourselves. Don't make this thing spooky, family. This is simple. God made it simple. People make it complicated, right? What comes along? People. In the form of a snake. Again, we give credit to, again, people being made from dirt, right? Women are being made from bones, okay? Men's bones, right? We get it, okay? But there's verses in the Bible that talk about like donkeys talking, all that kind of thing. I give enough brain power to understand that those things could be a thing. I'm not degrading those things. What we are saying though is that a lot of allegory is being spoken of in the scripture. We got to think on that. We got to think in that wise, y'all, right? As a result, who's snakes in the grass, y'all? Do we know any? I know a few. People who have sold their soul to greed. power, things that rust and rot, y'all. Telling you what you think it is and it ain't. Like the people groups down here don't belong nothing. They don't belong to nothing. They're less than dirt. They're no good. And they are worthless. You are not worthless. Your commandment, driven from love, is to dress and keep each other. And because we don't, whatever excuse you want to put on it, because we don't, we have incurred the highest penalties from this life. And we are reaping the benefits of it, every one of us. It's why we struggle financially. It's why we struggle health, in the health sense. It's why we struggle from a mental standpoint. You're supposed to think good thoughts about yourself. That ain't no woke movement. Or you know what? Since we're using the word out of balance, it is the woke movement. When you become aware, when you wake up about yourself, you realize you stop speaking death over your life all day long, and I'm a dummy, and I'm no good, and I'm worthless. No, you start saying how worthy you are. Because you've been made to be so. Not just because you hot stuff, even though that's good to, it's good to gas up yourself to a certain extent. It is. But we realize we've been given a holy directive. The highest set apart thing, y'all. When they talk about low and high vibration, man, that's no mess. That's no BS. That's real. You got a lot of people out here operating on low vibrations. You can feel it. You got snakes in the grass telling you what you ain't supposed to be doing. And that ain't the case. Right? Speaking of which, when you get down toward the end, when you get down toward the end of Luke chapter 10, going back there now. Let's see how we want to set this up real quick. We want to set this up. We want to set it up. For I tell you, this is verse 24. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which you see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, but have not heard them. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted. See, again, we're not getting on the lawyers because there's two different types. Speaking of which, again, when we talk about standing up for ourselves, family, financiers, and look, we're talking about any time that it's happened in human history. Legally, because you got to have laws to protect yourself from those who want to hurt you. And you got to have the money in the backing for it. You've got to have those people there. Same thing with the teachers, right? And philosophers. This is what happens every time humanity starts making a change. So we're not getting on lawyers here by saying this, but we are talking about that which people will use wrongly, which you've clearly seen throughout history. A certain lawyer tempting him, saying, Master, let me see where we at here. 33 minutes. All right, we coming to that close. Because again, a lot of these things we're saying, family, is already shown and proven in life. Whether we decide to accept it or not, that's up to us. What shall I do to inherit eternal life? To inherit eternal life. Okay. A lot of people ask that question. He said to him, what is written in the law? How readest thou? Okay. Now, again, you're talking to lawyer, you know, as far as the law is concerned, that's why he said law. Yo, when they say our arms are too small to box with God, man, this is so real. Okay, so what's the law say? What do you read? See, again, we're talking about this literacy level. What do you understand about what is written? And we can always go back and learn more, family. That's why you got these people sitting here shouting like they know everything. And we don't know, including me. I don't know it all. You have to have a heart open to learning. Right? When they say scholar meaning student, all these different big old words they use, and y'all, it's just talking about learning things. What do I do to inherit eternal life? All right. And now that's 26. He said, what's in the law? Jesus asked this lawyer, what's in the law? He answered and said, This is what the lawyer says back to him. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, and strength and mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. He said unto him, thou hast answered right. With all your knowledge, get understanding. That's what the Bible tells you, man. My. We miss it, family. We really do. We really do. The matter of fact, that confusion that the snake put in the home. See, before you look at the government and the White House and the Kremlin, right? Some emperor's castle somewhere in China. I don't care where it is. This mess starts in the house. It starts interconnected between people. Relationships is all it is, family. And when we say relationships, we talk in the definition of the word, not the romantic ones. All different types of relationships. Confusion gets in there. And when it gets in there, you see all types of mess, whether it's business, whether it's friends, whether it's romantic. It don't matter what it is. That thing goes sideways. This is what people sitting here talking about gender roles. Man, listen, we all have a role. So what are we even talking about? Matter of fact, guess what the one for the man was? To not kick the woman in the nuts when the judgment came. You stand on your square. See, but you keep seeing this through life. So we blaming this one for the wrongs in our economy. We're blaming this one for the wrongs in our social status. We blame this one. We blame that one. And again, the word blame, meaning to put accountability on, that's all well and good. But where is the one for you? This also goes to our black brothers and sisters. We're not saying that the so-called white man didn't kick us in the nuts. Of course. How long are we going to keep saying that without owning responsibility for ourselves? Stop killing ourselves in these hoods. And start taking the hoods that they gave us for our death and destruction and turn them into kingdoms, family. That's very real. But you can only do it when you band together. You can only do it when you let go of the hate toward the white man. As long as you hold on to that myth, you can only do it when you start learning more and more and more about yourself as a man, how compassionate men are. We got men out in the street as thugs right now, using protection incorrectly. Never mind. Never mind. Verse 28 in Luke 10, thou hast answered right, this do, and thou shalt live. And we talking collectively as humans, man, this is a regular lawyer said this. A Jewish lawyer, of course, I'm assuming. Could have been just a regular lawyer, right? Thou shalt live. You live when you love. That's the first thing right there, family. You can call that simping. And that's how you know people sit in the seat of the scornful, because they can't accept this mess. I won't call it mess, but they can't accept this truth, right? They can't. They got to make fun of it. Billy badasses we got out here, all acting like they Gestapos and thugs and stuff. What are we doing, y'all? Killing each other needlessly for what? Drugs? Money? You see how bad this economy is? How long is that money lasting you? Roll up in a Dollar Tree or some store somewhere and kill people for what? $500? $300? What you thinking? How much do you think these stores have in the safe? This goes on to the Karen. See, this is what we said, this idea of you can complain all you want to the workers. Could you take them letters to the boss, please? When we say boss, we're not talking to store managers of the stores we go into. We talking, could you go to the corporate offices? But you don't see people doing that. You know why? Because that take more effort. We don't see people doing that. Do you know why? Because then they get then they get hurt. But we're talking sacrifice, set apart, forcefully putting yourself there to make yourself set up. You love not only God, although that's there. But thy neighbor as thyself. Know thyself, y'all. There's so much packed into this. Jesus told him he was right, because he is. And when you do this, we live, y'all. When we don't do this, we die. That's why I said all you see with this divisional mess, denominations all over the place, all this garbage, it's nothing. It leads to nothing but death, division, destruction. Triple D's. Not the double D's, triple D's. And Jesus answered and said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem. It's funny that whole thing starts off this idea of the Good Samaritan. This is clear, y'all. This is what I'm saying. Like, we do a lot of talking, but this is where it's at, family, right? This is where it's at. And we're just gonna come to a close here on this. I was gonna get into the month of March, but we just had to go. We had to go this route today. Okay. Again, the main thing in the month of March is dealing with women. It's dealing with women. It's National Women's Month. Okay. A week-long celebration that started in 1982. Then it became a month-long, a week. Became a month-long celebration in 1987. The National Women's History Alliance chooses the annual theme. Again, these are all things that you could. There's multiple stuff. This is on Harvard's website. This is on. Let's see. They got one here for the embassy in Argentina, the U.S. Embassy in Argentina's website. It's all over the place, y'all. Again, truth is hidden in earthen vessels. You got to go look. You can keep discrediting and talk about fake news all you want. We got to go look. We'll end off with this verse here. Jesus said that when a man down from Jerusalem to Jericho fell among thieves, they stripped him of his raiment, wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. They didn't just take it. They didn't steal from him. They also tried to kill him. They left him half dead. They tried to kill him. And then ran off. Cowards. Where have we seen that today? We ain't going to go into the historical references with it, but we'll leave it alone. And by chance, there came down a certain priest this way. And when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Again, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, all thy strength, spirit, soul, and body in all of its forms. We can keep doing this thing with the three and all that. You are multifaceted like your maker is. With all thy mind. It's funny that soul and mind are there, but I'm going to leave that alone, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself. There's none of that going on in this story. Not yet, anyway. And departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance, there came down a certain priest that way. When he saw him, passed by on the other side. This is really the first time that I've read the thing here. We've mentioned it, but it's the first time that I've read it. And likewise, a Levite. We ain't even going to get into the history of the Levite. Since you're supposed to give your tithe, right? The history of that is giving it to the Levite, who was the tithe was to pay their way, by which they then gave back to the people. But we're going to leave that alone because everything is just spiritual, which is why that's all you get today is just spiritual. Again, the church in Acts proved that there was something else other than spiritual. No one lacked. That don't mean spiritually, with good prayers and happy thoughts. This ain't Peter Pan, y'all. People need food. They need money in their pocket so they can buy things and get gas and go to work for the man and all this other kind of stuff. I saw a whole lot of stuff about this boycott thing. Listen, if it's wrong, it's wrong. Just because you go into the job for that man don't mean you don't boycott somewhere else. See, Malcolm X said it a certain way here. We're talking February 28th at the end of Black History Month. We're supposed to boycott and stuff. See, again, what do you want, family? See, what do you want? There's a cost to this for us all, including me. When are we willing to put ourselves on the line? Not only for us, but for others as well. There's your eternal, that's how you inherit eternal life, by the way. Never mind. Never mind, we won't leave it alone. Again, God makes it simple, people make it complicated. Always remember that. Always remember that. The Levite looked on him when he was at the place where this person was, came and looked at him. So he got up kind of close to kind of look. You know how people kind of, when you see like a dead animal in the street, right? You kind of, some people, it really turns their stomach, right? Some people, they kind of get a little close. Or like when there's accidents in the road, you slow down traffic, sitting here looking to see what we can find in all that mess. Because it ain't like you hopping out the car to help them. So we sit there, we kind of look. We just got to call out the mess, family. It's time to stop fronting. It's time stop the cap, right? We looking around. Nope, passed on by the other side. But a certain Samaritan, Jesus made sure to name the Samaritan. Man, thank God for this, man. Look up the history of Samarian people. Samaria, look at it. Look it up. A lot of beef between Samaria and the Jews. Never mind. We're going to leave it alone. We already talked about it before. It doesn't matter where you worship God as long as you worship in spirit and truth. It was always that way. People just didn't recognize it back then. We can do that. We can do that little happy dance. As he journeyed, came where he was. When he saw him, he had compassion. Yeah, I don't want your pity. Okay. And went to see, we're using words where we mean to say something else. No, I don't need you looking down on me. We're not talking about that. I'm not worse than you because I'm in pain, but everybody needs help. Again, a certain lawyer, that lawyer was well-to-do, y'all. Lawyers wasn't, never mind. Let's just do this here in real time here for a second. So influential, again, they don't say that. We just type it in. Were lawyers well off in the Bible? Were they? Okay. This here, let's see, so that people know. You got some stuff here, Bible Hub, BibleReference.com, digitalbible.ca. There's a couple here, right? It says the Bible doesn't portray lawyers as being particularly wealthy or materialistic. However, they were highly influential people in the land at the time. How do you think that works? Certain cops today don't make a lot of money, but they're very influential in this society, aren't they? They're up there. Never mind. Part of the religious elite. These dudes are okay, man. Right? And like, some lawyers today, they don't always make a lot of money. Some of them do. Right? He had compassion on him. And when it comes to pity, man, hey, we got to help out each other, family. Those who got money, it's about helping out. I have not come for the healthy. I came for the sick. And I've kind of gone on really long here doing this, so my apologies, family. And went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine. Again, we're not giving you to bind up your wounds and help you. We're not giving you what you don't need. We're giving you what you need. And set him on his own beast. Brought him to an inn and took care of him. On the morrow when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host and said unto him, take care of him, and whenever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. That's where we're going to stop, family. If you want this thing, we're talking eternal life. We're talking to things that are higher than what you're looking at today, man. You want to come up higher? It's time we start showing compassion on the broken, on the hurting, on the bleeding, and on the dying. And we'll see this life get a lot better. a lot better than where we see it currently, right? That's what I got for y'all today, family. Shout out to International Women's Day. Shout out to National Women's Month. Say what's up one time to the mother, the daughter, the niece, the aunt, the grandmother, so on and so forth in your life, man. Bedrocks of the community, right? That's what I got for y'all today, family. Again, thank you for walking this road with me. My apologies for going a little long. It's been a minute, but we got to go a little long today. Hopefully, when we hop on and talk next time, it will be shorter. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.